Welcome again. This is Brother G coming to you again with another video message, another video teaching. Liberty from religious dogma. Now, the way I want to position this topic is obviously from the Bible. Liberty from religious dogma. Now, when you look upon the term liberty or liberty, people think this just give you freedom, which I thought too. This liberty, and that's what the meaning the American and the Oxford Dictionary give you. They don't give you a clear meaning, but it's just liberty from a certain idea or a certain concept. No, this liberty don't mean no you're free to do whatever you want. It's not just me saying that. Reality speaks that. Reasoning speaks that clearly. So in the context of what the religious dogma was teaching us, and I grew up in this religious dogma, it's not just saying no liberty to do whatever you want. You're not no liberalized now to just live any old way. The truth about this is to be free from a type of dogma that limits you where it shouldn't limit you from having life abundantly. It limits you because it cuts you off. It stops you from doing things that is not only legal as in a country where you are legal, but legal in the eyes of reality. If I say legal in the eyes of God, sometimes that is too amorphous. Where is God? God is the universe. God is the sun. God is the moon. Where is God? So the liberty that I'm talking now is to make it a little bit more plainer. The liberty is from religious dogmas that cuts you off from having life and having it more abundant in what God, reality, and reason really gives you. That's what I'm talking about, not the bad things. We are free from the bad things too. We're open to be free from the bad things because that create plagues in your life, obviously. So the liberty here in the context of the biblical New Testament that was given to us are even forced upon us. Okay, fine. I accept it, whether it's forced or given to us freely. Me, I didn't have no choice. I grew up in it. But now when I start to understand what it means, it just makes sense because the reality speaks also to me. Wisdom speaks also to me clearly. So the modernized are some things that we are free from is water baptism. Because as we have proven over time, we have seen it, we have seen the reality, we have seen it, we have experienced it with other people, and truly we have experienced it with our own self, that it was not water baptism that transformed the heart and the mind. That is a type of liturgy. So when we look at those things in its real context, real, and with reasoning and with understanding and with experience, we realize that all these things that has come upon us, as the New Testament said, the end of the world has come upon us. Really, the end of that understanding has come upon us. That's what it is saying. And I am so, I not vacillate upon them thing. I know the end of those things has come upon us is just that some of us have not seen it. So while the world are run on, the world in itself are run on, God expects us to run at the forefront, understanding things and being encouraged and growing in grace, which mean times, and growing with other people, because we have to be at the forefront. If we are saying we are God, Church of the Apostolic, we have to run ahead of the world as an example. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ had made us free. So Paul talked about himself He might talk about the church that he's writing this to. He's talking about them. So we know when we are read it, we are look on the example that they were doing. And because we come from the lower parts of the earth, me too come from the lower parts of the earth, as the New Testament said Jesus also come from the lower parts. It's kind of anomaly right there too, but it's all right. Same company come from the lower parts of the earth. Him learn and him has brought us out of certain things, certain understanding. And then Paul said, be not entangled or twist up in the yoke of bondage. Now, the yoke of bondage have grown today. Today, I almost don't listen to no preachers, no teachers, no preachers. I just look plainly what reality say, our experienced teacher, even what my family grew up in, and me learn from that. And so now when I look through my eyes and the words, it certain things just become so obvious. Me say, oh, that's what they were talking about. This thing is easy. So now Paul said, don't get tied up in the yoke of bondage. So now this is a religious dogma. That's pretty much what he's saying. Don't get tied up in them thing. The reason I'm jumping ahead, the reason you don't want to get tied up in a religious dogma, because it cuts you off from life and life more abundantly. Now we're talking about, I'm gonna try to say this right short the video message and the video teaching. We now say we have liberty now to live any old way. We only say we are being liberalized. Yes, let's use those terms as they want to say, but me understand it, and I'm gonna use it contextual for myself. It means from certain religious dogma that cuts us off from life. And when I say cuts us off from life, that means we are actually free through reasoning and experience to do these things. But what religious dogma does is to cut us off from actual life so we can live a more abundant life in good stead, not the bad stead. So me have a contextual mic, because we in a different world. I know me understand them thing. So the end of those religious dogma has come upon us. And a few of us have seen it, but many have not seen it. But it is dead. Those religious dogmas is dead. And I want to stir up, because I want to stir up people's righteous, conscious mind. Baptism is dead. It is dead. Water baptism is dead. Water baptism is dead. Whether it's water baptism, whether it's fully immersion in underwater, or it is sprinkling that the modern church, the mother church has done, all of these rituals are dead. The end of them has come to pass. They've been dead. It's just we coming to the realization and the reality, and God is saying, wake up, and don't go back in those things. Okay, I'm going to just let the New Testament talk. Let's go to the next verse and see what at that time they were specifically and clearly what laws and concept, religious dogma has died, because it profits nothing. And we see it too. So let's jump to the next verse. I, Paul, say unto you. Now this is Paul a write and a talk to the church. And I'm going to show you, say, him have power to explain these things, because him have understanding. And remember also what Paul was dragged out of. Paul was dragged out of Jewish fables. He was a Pharisee, according to the text. He was a Pharisee among Pharisees. He was taught at Gamaliel's feet. I think Gamaliel was a master teacher. So Paul's lifestyle, according to the text that was given to us, what we receive, Paul was a Jew of a Jew. He know these things. Now, it is he who's now coming to the realization and saying, is him attack? He's seen the realization and the reality that if he be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing. Now, the Galatian church and many other churches, this video is too short. This is definitely this have to be a video message, a video teaching, and it have to be put down in a sequence of things. When Paul talk about circumcision, as me now learn, under the title of circumcision, let's give it a modern day kind of idea so we can have it in a context and have it in a understanding. Think of, say, all right, just for argument's sake, think of the 1967 Civil Rights Act. Instead of 1965 or whatever it case may be, or any law, this is a law. Circumcision is a law. So based on the title, you would have circumcision right at the top of it. It would have say, let's modernize this idea. It would have say circumcision title 6. Circumcision title 6. So under circumcision, you would see all types of dogmatic laws, right? That you would have to do certain things. This is what he's actually talking about. So when he says circumcision, he's not no just talking about skinning over your body. Let's talk in a Jamaican language or Jamaican style of talk. He's not now saying you take the penis alone and cut it off. That's a ritual also to keep your body clean, to keep your penis clean or under the skin to clean. But what I've really found out is all of these things are spiritual things. Because we know by reasoning and by reality. Say if a man cut off his baby when he's born and cut off the baby's skin, that don't purify the baby. As they would want to say, it purify the penis, but it don't purify the baby. It don't purify the baby's heart. Even Solomon said, who come with reason and wisdom, said, train up the child in the way he should grow. And when he grow older, he will never depart. And it said many other things about children. So circumcision don't change the heart, whether you're a baby, an infant, or you become an old person. You don't have to be circumcised to change your heart and your mind. This is all spiritual language, and they put it in an actual manifestation as ritual, not understanding the context of what is being said or being taught through the spirit of reality. So when Paul says, I, Paul, say unto you that if ye be circumcised, Christ profit you nothing, because Christ know the message. Christ is really the spirit of the living God in our person or in our group. That's what it really means. Christ is a messenger. So the message is he's freeing you from this circumcised religious dogma. And today it has grown to many other different religious dogma. It has been multiplied through many things that you have. If you don't believe certain things, the literal mother church and all its offspring will literally cut you off. Even though they're talking about free will, they probably should say you're free to think what you can think, but you're not free to speak any language in our synagogue or our churches, and you're not free to do certain things that we don't approve. So so the truth might be really free thought, but don't verbalize those free thoughts, okay? Keep them to yourself. We don't want to hear them. You must conform yourself to what we believe. Now watch this. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised that he is a debtor to do the whole law. But me understand, say, you have hypocrisy, you have liars. They can also teach the law, which the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the captains and the priests was doing. They were teaching the law, but they weren't fulfilling it. They were hypocrites. They weren't doing it. They were actually teaching the law. They knew better, but they weren't doing it. So you see, in reality, when him say that he is a debtor to do the whole law. So circumcision is a law. It's a law with different codes. Circumcision is the title of the law or the heading of the law. And underneath circumcision, it gives you all types of laws and practices and rituals and all beliefs and all these things underneath it. Codes, statute, because this particular law, it according to what is written or given to us, is to cleanse a man's heart or cleanse him from sin, which we know in a real time now, reality now, it wasn't doing it then, and it's neither doing it today. It's the same thing. Again, I was saying, this law has grown leaps and bounds. It not just there in the West. It there literally everywhere. It there everywhere. So this law now has taken a life of itself. Meaning a real man add to it. A really man I come up with different ideas, trying to be just, trying to be righteous, and actually being put people in a bondage where those things that they are free from, they are bound in it and they can't escape it, because the law is spiritual. So as long as your mind is free, circumcision is spiritual dogma. Even if they were manifesting it in real times in the Galatian church and many other churches in different understanding, and them are manifest it in a real life and I do a ritual or their liturgy, there's many more add to it, these things that cut people off from real life. Again, we know according to the text and even in a reality, and we see it in the world too, that people are preach and teach certain law, but behind the scenes are right out in a public, them a violate the very law them attack. So we are talking about the religious law, religious dogma. So the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, the pastors, the evangelists, even today, are preach a certain type of law that themselves are violate. So that's hypocrisy, right? But me not beat them up. Some of them do it out of ignorance, and some really do it. I don't know if them really understand. So I understand that. So this circumcision is really a law. So now we're gonna jump to some of the laws that is underneath circumcision, and we know circumcision is really a law. Here Paul said to the Colossians, and when we read it, I've heard many times, and even I've heard many times people try to interpret this and them try to flip it. They try to turn it. They try to put it in a all kind of thing, but the context is so plain. And you could reason now and realize after you look on your own consciousness, you'd say, oh, I understand what the man has said, because reality speaks to me. Experience speaks to me, and I see it for myself, and I hear it for myself. And really what I'm doing is to pull other people out of religious dogma and be set free where Christ, the message, has really set us free. And Babylon or the dragon, I try to keep us caged as a bird, and when we get caged, right, we can't fly. The reason why we can't fly is because we have too much weight on our wings. So we can't fly. We can't do anything because religious dogma hold us hostage. Let no man, therefore, judge you in meat. What kind of meat if you eat? Or in drink, or in respect of holy day, or of the new moon, or of Sabbath days. I've heard so much interpretation when this says or of Sabbath days. They would say, no, these are just the holy days. No, it's inclusive of every days, every Sabbath days, because he's saying that he's not making a distinction. So we have to just look at it contextual as being inclusive, as being broad. It's covering everything. Our holy day, our new moon. Here's the reason why, even if Mega answer the question, I need to run ahead of myself. The reason no man should judge you in these things, you have freedom. Watch this. Let me explain this to man, devil. Watch this, man. Watch this. You're now free to eat meat. Whatever meat you choose to eat. And I'm going to show you how powerful Paul now is saying the word of faith is. When I read it, I say, oh my God, this is too powerful. I'm going to show you. In other words, let me run and say, he's saying, let no man judge you in what you eat. Let no man judge you in what you drink. In respect of an holy day. Now really, there's freedom to choose which day you choose to want to be a holy day. So no man or woman, I should say, should judge anybody according to holy days, or new moon, or Sabbath days. No man should judge you in any of them things. So if a man want to worship moon, make him worship him moon. If a man want worship on Sabbath days, make him worship on Sabbath days. So Paul is now moving the veil, and I say, now make no man trick you underneath this law of circumcision and say these things make you righteous. Alright, let me read the next text because I run away for say. Which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. Let no man trick you in your reward in voluntary humility and worshiping of angels included in those. Paul is saying all of those things that we just mentioned was a shadow at their time to come, and the body is of Christ. That means the body of Christ or the message of Christ already revealed. So them things they are shadow. Them things is not the real things. Sabbath day, holy moon, all of them things the way now do is just a shadow. They are not the real things. Basically, in my sphere of influence, we couldn't come to the realization say baptism is a shadow of things to come. Even large supper is a shadow of things to come. All of those things are shadow, but the real thing has already manifested itself even in a dear time. The real thing was the Spirit. The real thing was not the baptism of water. The real thing was baptism of the Spirit and truth, meaning a spiritual context them I try to get to know so we can be wise, right? So them things that was already dead already, them dead long time, a long time them dead, them things that are dead works. They don't give life. But the Spirit give life. Of course the Spirit give life because it free you up to live. I got me I try for sure and me I see the reality and I say blows so and according skirt. To the text, how come we don't know these people who were teaching circumcision law and all of these codes and statutes that must be fulfilled to make a man righteous. We have seen it through the ages according to the text, the Old Testament and the New Testament, according to what they have given us or they have conspired to give us, whatever we want to say, but the reality now is of God. The truth is now of God. The sun shineth and we see plainly. So none of them rituals, none of them gives you life. But the Spirit give you life because if you're walking at the Spirit, you're not going to do the wrong things them. And of course, and other people who are walking at the Spirit can help you out and you're going to live and grow from day to day. So now the people them during that time, if we read Acts, and we read Acts. If you read Acts, you could realize the people them who creep in a people houses and act like them are godly man and them are preachers and them are evangelists and them are prophet. Them are add more lies to women and even men. Them are add more lies, add more dogmatic lies and I cut people off from their life and I keep them in a circle. Philosophy and them vainly puff up and just doing all kind of madness. Now the reality exists today. What truth is saying plainly is those things are dead. Me see them now for what they are. They are dead works. They don't profit. Forbidden to marriage. See me I take pieces from each one because now I understand the thing contextually and in a larger picture. Religious dogma or circumcision forbids to married. Let me stop right here, sir. This is strange because even though the church, he was talking exclusively to the church here and arguing against the mother church. There's two mother church even in the New Testament, which is present with us today. Same way again, the same one. Forbidden to marry. Now, the strange thing about forbidden to marry, it also expanded out into the world. And if you go up on YouTube and you hear other people and look at their real lives, move from YouTube and go to real life, a lot of people is refusing to marry because of many different obstacles. And when they start to delve into the obstacles or the challenges that they think come with marriage, you realize that the devil have a hold on a lot of people, not just the church, but a hold on the world where people are not getting married. So the spirit have gone out in the world and have forbid people to marry. They don't know say it's the spirit that's forbidding them to marry because a lot of people are choosing not to get married. Young people are choosing not to get married because of the obstacles that they think that are there. There are challenges, But with reasoning and understanding, you can overcome these obstacles. So this spirit has gone out into the world, and I think it's coming from no, I believe it's coming from the church, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meat. Which this is the power that I'm telling you that I read, which God had created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. Those, me and one of them people that who know, believe and know the truth. So none of these things that is explained and know in our modern world today can hinder you from the love of God or the understanding of God, because God is a spirit, and they that worship God worship him in a spirit and in a truth. So all of these things, whether what kind of meat you eat, cannot cut you off from God. Of course, me not eat every kind of meat, and you don't eat every kind of meat. But he's saying these things don't cut you off from God. This is how powerful it is. And let me give you a testimony. I thought halal food was prepared differently from every other food. But the guy said to me when I asked him a question, what is halal food? He said they just prayed over it. And I said, oh my God, that's the same thing we do. We pray over it. We believe that the food is, we're going to eat it by faith and it won't do anything. Now I understand the real knowledge behind this. So I'm not going to get into that. But this is how powerful prayer is, because the prayer is of faith. It makes your conscience now unclean, not unclean, clean, because you prayed over it and the power of your words make the food clean. Now, this sounds strange to people, and it would have sounded strange to me a couple years ago. But then when I start to learn and look into the world, that's the same thing the world do too. They test the food, they do all kind of things with food, and after them decide say the food is good to consume, they write laws and say this food is consumed. So, and it's by faith and you eat it and nothing no do they tested it, and I'm like, oh my God, isn't that what John say, you test every spirit? So I'm going fast because there's just so much to say in a very short time on YouTube. So Paul here is saying a lot of people, the spirit has gone out to forbidding marriage, and it's not now to the church alone. It have gone out in the world. So the spirit of forbid people and young people. Listen, look at what they're saying. They don't want to get married. They don't want to be committed to one person. So the spirit now have now expressly gone out in the world and I tell people in their mind and heart, say don't get married. And the young people them is and eating it up and not being married, and also abstain from food. So these are religious dogma which have now gone out into the world. They have now moved from the church door and it just exposed to the world, and they are just eating it up. They just eating it up, not being married. And of course, when you're not committed to one wife or one husband, all kind of plagues is gonna happen. It's just obvious. We have seen it. It is happening today. It happening then. So these are some of the dogma of circumcision. These things don't make you clean. For every creature of God is good, and nothing to be refused. I do refuse some. If it is be received with thanksgiving, for it is sanctified by the words of God and prayer. So that means you just really pray over the food, and the food is sanctified, and you're done and you're gone and you move on about your business. This is so powerful. It's as if we haven't read this. So to get out of religious dogma is to just look at what is given, look at reality, look at your experience, look at how many people we have baptized, and people baptized 5 and 6 and 7 times and they have not been transformed. So it's not the baptism is transforming, it's the spirit. You need a spiritual baptism of somebody who understands the truth. So when we attack the mother church, its sister church, and the two prominent churches talk about certain religious dogma, and you look into it, you realize a lie. You realize that some of these religious dogma, they just cut you off from living a life and living it more abundant. And as the New Testament talk, and as I've learned, when it attack liberty, it's specifically talking about liberty from religious dogma which don't profit which don't transform the person. That's basically what he must say. He's not now saying liberty as even what the mother church wants to say, or some of the offspring wants to say, no, you're free to live any old life. That's not what it's saying. It's saying you're having, if anything, it's liberty within the truth, which is very expansive anyway. Liberty within the truth is very, we can't complete liberty in the truth. It's so expansive. The devil wants to make we think and believe that true liberty in the truth, meaning the liberty that he's talking about, still have boundaries, but the boundaries are so far and wide. The devil is trying to make us believe that the boundaries are so tight, but they are not. They are wide and they are deep and they are so expansive. Again, the devil wants us to think that the liberty that we are being liberalized from in the context of religious dogma, that this is now free to do anything. No, we are not idiot. We know a certain lifestyle we don't want to live in it because it's gonna just plague us and our generation to come. So we know say it's the dogmatic liberties that cuts us off from real life. Those are the things that it is telling us. Not liberty to live any old way, any carnal way to mess up your life and have confusion of life and confusion of faces. We know that now. We come to the understanding and knowledge. It's liberty from foolish dogma, such as what they give in the New Testament and some in the Old Testament, like circumcision. It can't prevail nothing, which we know. And I'm trying to be very modernize and show you say, you know just like me, those who know and see it, that baptism profit nothing, and other liturgy that we have practiced profit nothing. It's the spirit, the spiritual baptism that profit you, because God is a spirit, if we believe that term or that idea. And so it's the spirit that really purify your mind and heart to live a kind of way that is beneficial, not just for you, but for your offspring and your generation to come. Be free from religious dogma.